Hey guys, what's up? I'm Destiny. This is a wonderful new year, January 1st. How's it going? I thought I would make a little video to do kind of a recap on everything and then talk about, I guess, kind of what we did over the past year and then what I want to do going forward. Yeah, I don't really have much of a script, just a couple things to talk about, a couple things, probably like three or four big things to talk about. First and foremost, I want to say I love you. Thank you to all of my wonderful subscribers. I don't really do much in terms of like sub games or sellout Sundays or whatever other people do to play with subs, mainly because of the way that I've geared my content towards. I don't know. I try to avoid the clutter of the like, hey, thanks for subbing. Hey, thanks, like doing that like constantly. I know some streamers do that. I try not to do that as much. Don't make the mistake of thinking that because I do that, I don't appreciate all the people that do subscribe to me. I understand that I'm incredibly lucky to do what I do. I never thought that, even 7 years ago, that this job was even possible, let alone that I would be doing it for as long as I have been doing it. So I am incredibly grateful for everybody that, for everybody. I mean, if you watch ads, if you subscribe in any size, shape, or form, if you've ever sent a donation before, if you've ever tweeted at me, if you ever post to my subreddit, even if you ad block everything and all you do is do chat every now and then, or even if you just sit there as an extra tally on my Twitch viewer count so that I can get more people to come in and watch. I'm really grateful for all of that. I tried to throw in, we played through The Witcher, so I could finally beat it. I'll be doing StarCraft 2 soon as well. I didn't donation drive or anything for these games. I just know that these are games that the community has wanted to see me play for a long time, and I kind of thought as like a way to say thank you, that I could hop in and do some things that I don't absolutely hate, as a way to kind of give back. It seems kind of strange talking about giving back by playing games, but yeah, I'll probably do the same with The Last of Us coming up, hopefully, if not this month, then the next month. So I guess just a couple changes going forward. I guess I'll just hammer these out from top to bottom. I just wrote like three little things down to talk about. For the first thing, so I guess if you've been watching my channel over the past like 5 or 6 months, I've been pretty involved with political memes, right? I don't know if I ever see myself ever becoming like a really big, like full-time politics kind of person where that's all I do on, YouTube and Twitter and everything. And I'm not sure if I'll ever go that route. It's not the plan to right now. The plan is still primarily to do video game streaming, but the dosage of politics that I'm doing on the side has increased quite a bit and will probably continue to stay on that track, especially now that I'm getting access to some of these larger, internet political figures, Lauren Southern in a few days, and I got to talk to Sargon, and maybe I'll move up to that Stefan Mayanov, whatever the fuck that one dude is, and maybe Milo eventually, who knows. I guess I kind of want to talk about the political stuff a little bit on things we did in the past, things that will change going forward, and then kind of like my general goal for everything, I guess. The big thing that bothers me when I talk about the big thing that bothers me in general about politics is it seems like there's nobody in the middle, and I don't want to play that. I don't want to play that card where you see a lot of people who are like, oh well, good job, you're in the middle, you found a way to be superior to everybody. Or, oh, you're in the you're too much of a pussy to take a side on an issue. When I say in the middle, I don't mean being dead set in the middle. I'm probably left-leaning right now. When I say in the middle, I guess what I mean is like, I feel like I hold a lot of positions that a lot of reasonable people might hold, but we have like no representation anywhere on the internet. Like for instance, okay, I think that in general girls probably do get treated like shit in a lot of online gaming. I think that most reasonable people agree with that there are some double standards that go on, and that in general that we could all probably do a better job in treating women a little bit better on the internet, right? I don't think most reasonable people disagree with that, and then on the flip side, I don't agree with almost anything that like Anita Sarkeesian says, or like Zoe Quinn, or that Randy Harper chick that insta blocks everybody on Twitter if you even criticize a single thing, or Brianna Wu, right? These people are insane, right? So it's like, if you're somebody that believes that these people are insane, who do you have that stands in your corner, right? Gamergate, or the internet aristocrat guy that I debated, or right, like where do you go? Like men's rights communities, like fuck, like what if I, and then on the flip side, what if I think that women do get treated pretty shittily in gaming, and I think we could improve that behavior? Where do I find my allies there? Do I have to go to fucking Gamer Gazi, or do I have to go to these hardcore left leaning shit Reddit says? Jezebel, whatever all the blog sites that that do the crazy list, like who is in my corner there, right? And I feel that way on a lot of issues. I feel that way in a lot of issues. It doesn't seem to be just it's not just the gaming thing. I'll use the social rights thing, but like literally on any issue that you want to talk about. Like what about like healthcare, right? Should healthcare be given 100% free to every single person in the United States? I don't know if that's a very realistic solution, right? Maybe that's not possible, right? And I'm willing to admit that's not something that's possible. Same thing with education. Maybe it's not possible to make that absolutely free for everybody, right? But on the other hand, should it be 100% free market capitalism? And if you can't afford it, then you just need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps because this is the land of opportunity and anybody can become a streamer, video game player and make millions of whatever dollars and everybody can do it. The opportunities are like, well, no, that's not very realistic too. Like I think that there are people in society that probably need a helping hand, you know, like it's just by law of being in society, right? And people being in different classes and people having more opportunity available to them being in upper classes, you know? So I guess it disappoints me because I feel like extremism on both sides of all of these issues further serve to entrench the other side. And it's like at the end of the day, like where do you, if you don't want to become an extremist, where do you stand? Who do you stand with? Who represents you, right? I'm not saying that I want to take up the banner and be that person, right? I'm just saying that I enjoy talking about these issues. I guess my goal is to try to bring some people to the center, or if there are people at the center that feel themselves being drawn to an extreme, maybe pulling some people back from the extreme sides, right? In the past, I've been pretty inflammatory on Twitter. I'll probably continue that to some extent. One thing going forward, though, is I'm going to try not to trivialize people's feelings because I think that feelings are the most important thing when talking about anything having to do with politics. And it's something that I've largely ignored for a couple of reasons. Personally, I am a very thick-skinned person, and it's been a life journey for me to realize that not everybody functions the same way that I do. It's very, very, very difficult for me to realize that. And like going into this election, like I'm always big on like, you want to talk about immigration? Well, let's talk about stats. Let's talk about wages. Let's talk about impact, right? Or you want to talk about, like this or this, like, well, let's go over the numbers, right? But not everybody thinks that way, right? The people that voted for Brexit or the people that voted for Trump, these people aren't thinking that like, well, wages in the bottom quintile of laborers in these markets were depressed by 4% when a supply shock occurred, right? Like people aren't thinking that way, right? People are thinking, all these people are moving in and I feel like I'm getting shafted, or I feel like my culture is somehow bad or demonized, right? One thing that, and when I talk about addressing people's feelings rather than facts, the important thing is that feelings are never wrong, right? A person's feelings can never be invalidated, right? And if somebody's feelings exist, you have to ask, why do you feel that way? And I think that those are more productive discussions, right? So for a real example, if you think I'm just, a lot of people, this drives me crazy. A lot of people will say things like this and then they don't back anything up with examples. So I'm trying to give examples of everything I say so that it doesn't sound like I'm just, full of hot air, right? So as an example of this, right? In the United States, right? If you are a factory worker, right? What are some things that you might, or were a factory worker, right? What are some things that you might think that these Trump supporter people will say, right? Well, we've gotten fucked by trade deals. We've gotten, all of our labor is going to China and Mexico. The Democrats don't care about any of our jobs. Nobody wants to help us. The blue collar workers, we're getting fucked, blah, 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 right? Okay. So factually, let's ignore all of that, right? So what is the feeling, right? Well, the feeling is that I feel as a blue-collar worker, like I've been fucked and that nobody is paying attention to me, right? So everything beforehand was probably pretty wrong, getting fucked by trade deals and all of that, right? But the feeling of being fucked that's totally valid, right? So then it leads to more productive discussions like, okay, well, why do factory workers feel like they got fucked? Well, because trade deals and the way that automation works targets specific sectors of the economy, there are sectors of the economy that are disproportionately impacted by different types of economic policy, whether that's different types of trade agreements, whether that's automation of certain jobs, which has impacted a lot of people, right? So basically what I'm trying to get at is I think that if you start with the way that somebody feels, I think that from there you ask the question of why do you feel that way, and then you get to more productive discussions rather than me beginning in the like starting off with like, let's go through the facts, right? Because I don't think that anybody I've gotten into an argument with where it's just been an onslaught of facts, I don't think that any of these people have ever changed their mind, right? Whereas if instead it was a conversation like, well, I feel like I've gotten fucked by this, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, well then let's look at solutions, right? Because the solutions aren't like what Trump presents, right? Like, we'll get rid of all the trade deals and put up all the tariffs. That was not realistic solutions, right? And we know that. Trump knows that. Maybe if you're I'm not trying to be too condescending. If you're a hardcore Trump, maybe you don't think that's true, but Trump knows that that's not true, right? Trump before running for election was a social democrat who was very much a big believer in globalization, right? Which everybody is. It's not really something you believe in. Globalization is just a fact, right? You can't really do much about it. And I'll hopefully remember, I'll link an article in the section below if you haven't read it, an op-ed I think that Trump wrote in 2013 talking about, how important, getting rid of borders and ease of access and trade and immigration and everything. Like he wrote an article about this, right? It's Trump's own words, but this is before he was running for office. Yeah, I think that what was I just talking about before that? Talking about I'm saying I'm a lot. Talking about people's feelings gets us to figure out why, and then moving from there to figure out why people feel that way can get us into more productive discussions about like what are policies. We were talking about getting rid of all the trade agreements and putting up massive tariffs, right? That's never going to work, right? That kind of a thing is never going to happen. But maybe targeting specific workers for retraining or education programs, something that will jumpstart their ability to enter the labor market again in different kinds of professions. That's the type of policy that works, right? Because globalization and free trade and all this shit, all these trade agreements have given us cheaper products. They have increased our GDP. They have given us access to other markets. They have made standards of living better across the entire Western world. These are all undeniable facts, right? You can't really challenge any of those assertions, right? Standards of living have increased everywhere, even for the lowest members of society, even as the income gap grows, right? These are undeniable facts, right? So instead of just scrapping all of that because one sector of the economy got a little bit fucked, why not target that sector of the economy with some sort of stimulus, right? That's the kind of argument. And these are the kinds of arguments that I would love to see, right? I want to see these demagogues on both sides debating like, well, I don't know if we should target these people with education or if they should be given some kind of economic stimulus, or, well, I think that, instead of that, maybe these people should be given relocation. Like, these are arguments where it's like, okay, well, this is awesome because the problem of certain people being disenfranchised, now that's being argued about. This is being addressed. And what are we going to do to address that? That's an awesome argument. And now we're in reality, and we've got a real problem that we're trying to tackle and solve. And that's awesome, right? As opposed to, we need to get rid of all globalization and get rid of all the trade agreements and build all these walls. Like, this is bullshit. This is a waste of time. No intellectual person is going into these debates expecting much of anything because they're just stupid, right? And everybody knows they're stupid. But your feelings aren't stupid. What I'm trying to say is feels over reals, okay? As much as the right makes fun of it, I mean, the right lives it these days, right? The alt-right very much lives in a feels over reals society. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that only listen to the first 2 minutes and they're already in the comments like, oh, typical SJW destiny talking about feels over reals. But the reality is that the alt-right is definitely a feels over reals kind of movement, right? You feel like immigrants are destroying your culture. You feel like wages are down all across. You feel like immigrants are committing lots of crime. You feel like, immigrants are destroying, right? But none of these things are substantiated by fact or figure, right? A lot of these things are just narratives being pushed into you by people that are capitalizing on your feels to give you their own version of the reals, Yeah. So in the future, I guess on Twitter, so a couple of things that I'm trying to avoid. I'm going to try to avoid marginalizing people's feelings by saying things like fuck white people or why do white, like basically making fun of white people in general is something that I'm going to try to avoid doing, I guess, unless it really calls for it. Just because all the crimes of white people can't be experienced by an individual white person, right? This is a big problem that people on the left have. I think I've talked about it before on this channel, right? Where people will take the crimes of a class and they will saddle it on an individual, right? And an individual is not capable of perceiving that. If you talk about how, like, well, white people have been systematically racist to black people, throughout all of United States history, that's a statement that's probably true for the most part. Not as much today as it was in the 60s, right? But it's probably true to some extent, right? But an individual can't, that statement doesn't resonate with an individual. A kid going to college in, Washington, or, a white dude that lives, in California, someplace, or different, a person that lives in a rural community in Indiana or Nebraska or Kansas, right? These aren't people that go out of their way to oppress black people. So when you try and saddle an entire class and history's worth of crime or thought onto these individuals, these people just look at you like you're fucking crazy, right? And to some extent, they should, right? If you try to tell a person in Indiana, like, hey, you white person, you're involved in systematically oppressing black people, and this guy's seen like 2 black people in his entire life, right? How are you ever expecting to open a dialogue with that person when you're already trying to saddle an entire class's worth of guilt onto an individual that may or may not be involved in perpetrating any of that, whatsoever, right? Yeah. So backing up a little bit and summarizing, I really do feel like I feel like I don't have anybody that represents a voice like mine right now in any media. Maybe they're out there somewhere, but it seems like the people that everybody pays attention to are like the Ben Shapiros and the Milo Yiannopoulos, whatever the fuck his name is, and the Tommy Laurens and the InfoWars and the Young Turks and the Sargon of Akkad's and like. I don't like that. I think that there needs to be people pushing discussion online that is fruitful and that actually at least pushes people towards discussing solutions to problems rather than talking about problems that don't exist, is what I'm saying. And I hope that I can foster some of that discussion. I'm sure there are people out there bigger than me that probably do it, and I just maybe haven't stumbled upon them yet. But yeah, kind of like a voice of reason, I guess. I say voice of reason, but I guess everybody considers themselves a voice of reason, huh? Hopefully, I've got a debate with Lauren Southern coming up in a few days, and I feel like I'm pretty well read on that. Like, I bought her book, I read her book, and I've been reading through I don't want to pronounce his name, the economist that she cites about how immigration has failed and whatnot. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't know if it's Borges or Borges or whatever, right? But yeah, going through all of that, I hope that in that debate, I hope that I could show that people from very different sides of the aisle can come together and agree that everybody needs to act a little bit less fucking extreme so that we can actually exist in the same reality and have conversations on how to improve said reality, That's politics in general. In terms of how will this be impacted on my YouTube, I'll probably try to reach out to more larger people for discussions, or debates, whatever you want to call them. I think Sargon said he would have me on again. I think he said we can do it again. Maybe Martin Shkreli again, although I don't know if we really have that much to talk about. But somebody like Sargon would be good. It would be nice. Oh, one thing I want to do is I want to start reaching out to people on the left too, because these are people that I disagree with, and I think a lot of people, because I spend so much time, fighting against extremists on the right, people seem to think that I'm entrenched in these very extreme left positions, and that's not true at all. Who's that one? The Lacey Green chick has said some incredibly fucking crazy shit, and I would love the opportunity to nice words. I would love the opportunity to discuss with these people the insanity of some of their positions, right? Like Lacey Green's thing about, what was she saying about, like, you should continually ask for consent while fucking somebody, right? Like, can I take off your shirt? Can I take off your bra? These are statements that are never going to exist in reality. Nobody wants to do this. This is the biggest fucking buzzkill of all fucking time. If you meet a chick at a club and you take her home and you're asking her for permission to do things like every fucking 5 seconds, she's going to think that you have no confidence. She's not going to want to spend any time with a fucking child, right? Like, and that's just one example, right? There's tons and tons and tons of these examples littered throughout the extreme left. I guess it's to the right's credit, I guess it's harder to argue with these people on the left because a lot of these people, I guess, just insta-block me. I know that Randy Harper has me blocked on Twitter. I think Brianna Wu has me blocked. I think I don't know if Zoe Quinn blocked me. Yeah, Brianna Wu tells me blocked. I don't know the Zoe Quinn chick's Twitter. I heard she's running for fucking Congress now or wants to make a go at it. Good luck. Yeah, maybe we can try to reach out to these more extreme people on the left and grab them too, hopefully. Politics. I think that's about it for politics, yeah. For stream-related stuff, I probably should have put this at the start since most people know me for streaming. I played a lot of games last month, probably more games than I wanted to play. I don't even remember all the games we played. Final Fantasy 15, Faster Than Light, many memes. Final Fantasy 15 took up a lot of time. We did The Witcher as well. I still want to have that one central game that's kind of like a focus for me that I can sink a lot of time into. It's going to be League of Legends. I know that upsets a lot of you, but I'm going to try to spend like 4 hours a day doing League of Legends related stuff. This season, I want to take improving very seriously. I've never really done it before in League of Legends where I actually sit down and practice, like for real. And typically it's just been grinding games, which was decent in the past, but I'll probably start doing things. I've had a few ideas, like analyzing first bloods of every game, like or first deaths, I should say, like any game where you die, going over different Twitch clips to see what could have went better, paying more attention to games instead of reading chat while I'm in fucking lane and then dying to stupid shit, learning the lane matchups more, like knowing exactly what to do in every lane matchup and talking about these things. These are all things that I want to do. I'm hoping that it'll make the league streams a little bit more entertaining rather than just silently farming to 200 CS and then walking up and either shitting on everybody or getting shit on by everybody. Hopefully the interactivity and the talking about what's going on makes it a little bit more appealing for people that play League or watch League. I'll try to be more interactive with chat between games in terms of discussing the games themselves. So that means talking feedback, criticism, suggestions, or whatever. We'll go over that. And yeah, hopefully the league streams are a little bit more bearable doing that. Or maybe they'll be even more unbearable. I'm not sure if people get really bored as fuck through all this stuff in between games. Who knows? We'll see. I'm trying like 2 forms of a schedule right now because I'm so bad at keeping a normal schedule. Something that I've started doing is I started this last month and I'll probably continue this forever. At the top of my subreddit, I'm going to have a to-do thing, which is going to give like the general overview of what's going to happen with the stream for the next month, right? So so like right now, I think I have written on there, we've got League of Legends. I still want to try to get to Legend and Hearthstone at the end of the month. And I probably want to play the epilogue of StarCraft 2, The Last of Us, and then like videos that I need to make for YouTube, right? So that if you come into stream or if you go to my subreddit, you're like, well, what's Destiny doing? Is Destiny playing StarCraft 2? Is Destiny blah, 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 right? You can just go and you can hit up this one post every month and you'll just see like, okay, Destiny's not playing this game this month. This is what Destiny's focused on this month, right? So you don't have to pop in a chat and go like, when are you playing Path of Exile? I don't know why that's become a fucking meme. Or when are you playing, are you playing this? Are you playing that, right? You can just go and view like, okay, well, this is what's on the agenda for the month, right? And then obviously, because it's a new year and we all make fucking baseless New Year's resolutions, I'll try to update my schedule more at the first of every month and keep that current and try to stay to that. And we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. All the best memes. For other minor stream related stuff, I'm going to be doing a lot of rehashing on my website and whatnot. I'm trying to add more value to subscribers. I want to create an ecosystem that ties in a lot of my stuff together. So for instance, like on the subreddit, I think that Flare should be automatically assigned to people that are subscribed to my website. I'm working in a partner Discord. Maybe I'll work on permissions and whatnot that tie into subscriptions to my website under the Discord. I should have put this back in the YouTube thing. I thought about making a Patreon, although oh man, wow, I just got the best idea for the Patreon. Fuck. I think for the Patreon, what I could do is for the Patreon, I'll just make it so that you can subscribe to the Patreon and any subscription on the Patreon will carry over to my website. So if you're a tier 4, it'll just be like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 sub on the Patreon. That'll carry over to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 on the website. So if you're somebody that likes me exclusively for my YouTube content, maybe you don't care about my streams at all. You want to watch because you like my YouTube stuff and you like the political talks or you like the random memes or whatever, right? Well, instead of going to my website and saying, hey, Destiny, I really like your stuff. Like, let me subscribe to your site to show you how much I like your YouTube stuff. You can just subscribe to a Patreon made for my YouTube. It'll also give you a sub on my site. But that way, I guess like the big thing is what I'm trying to be careful of with the Patreon is I don't want it to look like I'm like triple, quadruple dipping. Like buy my merchandise, subscribe to me on my website, subscribe to me on Patreon, subscribe to me on Twitch, and like right, because if at some point like you can only suck a fan dry of so much fucking money, right? People, can't pay, like, well, fuck, like I was driving to school yesterday and I had the Destiny bumper sticker on my car and then I got it on my, my Destiny branded GTI with a big Destiny decal on the side and I was walking in my cool Destiny branded Yeezys and I took out my, Destiny cell phone and got onto the Destiny GG app and I was going to do the Destiny GG tap to pay, but I didn't have any money in my Destiny.gg account because I spent it all on tier 4 subs and Destiny GG Christmas sweaters and right, like at some point, like it's ridiculous, right? So my goal in starting a Patreon is twofold. If I do it, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. I'm starting to like the idea more and more, but the goal is twofold. One is to capture revenue that I haven't captured from YouTube, from people that watch YouTube that want to throw money at me but don't really know how or don't feel like subbing, right? It gives me an opportunity to capture revenue there. And two, it lets me split my revenue between my platforms in a way that allows me to understand where my money is coming from better. Because right now, I make a bunch of money from my site, but I don't know how much of that money comes from people that just watch my YouTube videos, right? And so, like, let's say, for instance, instance, for example, we'll use hypothetical numbers, right? Say I make $1,000 a month, right? If I made 500 from my site and 500 from YouTube, well, fuck, I need to pay a lot more attention to my YouTube, right? Or say I make, 600 from YouTube and 400 from my site. It's like, wow, people really like my YouTube shit, or conversely, say I only make 100 from my YouTube and 900 on my stream. It's like, okay, well, I need to continue to pour a lot of time to my stream. That's my most important revenue source, right? Maybe I'll do more, maybe I need to cultivate more interest in my YouTube, right? But yeah, the did I say both goals of the Patreon? The first goal of the Patreon is to capture new revenue. Oh yeah, and then the second goal is to show me where my current revenue, how it's divided between people that watch my stream and people that watch my YouTube. I don't know if I've used different hands to symbolize both of those, but right, you know what I mean. Whew. Yeah, so that's the Patreon. If I do that, I'm pretty sure I'll do that, yeah. Finding more ways to tie in subscriber benefits across all of my different ecosystems, or I guess that's the word Apple coined. I don't know. But getting that Destiny GG ecosystem set up so that if you subscribe on one thing, you're getting benefits across a lot of other things would be nice to have that. I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm getting a partner Discord set up as well, since I know a lot of you fuckers like Discord and whatnot too. So that should be all good memes. Ooh. In terms of moving content forward, I like the Monday mails. I mean, I get good engagement on the Monday mails. I think anywhere from 10 to 15,000 views on each one. If they're politically charged topics, they seem to get even more. If they get linked elsewhere, they get more. So the Monday mail seems to be working really well. I'll probably continue to do that. I want to be involved in some kind of podcast where I get to talk about some things more in depth. I've really, really, really enjoyed learning everything that I've learned having to do with everything that I've done in the past. It's been so much fun going over these economics papers, going over all these different viewpoints. Like, I feel like I'm just getting all of this information, forming these opinions, getting them challenged by other people, talking to people and feeling really good that I know a lot more than them, or talking to people like Ryan Dawson and realizing that I know fuck all about a topic and then learning a bunch more about it, right? These are all like really life enriching experiences to me. I love this kind of stuff. And the ability to have a more formal environment where I can invite somebody on for a 1 to 3 hour discussion and hash it out with somebody who has the qualifications to talk about this stuff would just be so awesome to me. What I'm probably going to create some kind of podcast in the coming month, hopefully month or 2 or 3, hopefully soon, where I think what my goal is going to be is I'm literally just going to pay some guy $300 a month, and I'm going to say, yo, I want you to set this shit up. I'll pay for the graphics and everything. I've got a guy that does my logo and branding. I'll pay for the graphics and everything, but I need you to I need you to find me interesting guests, and then I need you to get everything set up. So basically I just have to show up and then record, and we're good to go. That kind of a setup would be perfect for me. I would get to do what I want. I'd pay somebody else to do everything, and then it would be impossible for me to fuck that up or to fail at keeping that on the schedule because I would be because somebody else would be doing all the work, right? One problem that I've had in the past is I tend to micromanage everything. A lot of people say this as a tongue-in-cheek, like, what's your greatest weakness? Oh, well, I try so hard at everything. Micromanaging things when you go to a certain size, or anybody that's ever been involved in management, is actually a very, very, very bad thing, because as an individual, you do not have enough time to do all the things you want to do. You have to delegate, and an inability to delegate will always lead to failure when you take on a certain amount of responsibility. And at this point in my career, I should have already been delegating a lot more things. I should have delegated the YouTube channel 4 years ago, and it would be a 250,000 subscriber YouTube channel today instead of a 40 or 50,000 sub one, right? I had 60 or 70,000 subs on a previous YouTube on Remember Tomorrow Zero without ever even promoting it or trying, right? And those are all gone because I made a new one, right? Just things like that. And the podcast thing is something that I should have delegated a long time ago as well. I'm going to try to get on that. I'm delegating out all of the graphics and images and everything instead of searching for them every time. I've got dedicated people for this now. I'm trying to work more in that and getting myself more business aligned, where I understand that my strength is streaming, my strength is creating content, and these are the areas that I excel at. And it's better for me to just pay people to deal with other things than to try to learn how to do everything and micromanage everything, because at the end I just lose value in everything, right? I lose total income capabilities. I lose the ability to put out quality content, across different types of platforms, and yeah. So I'll be trying to delegate more stuff. This was all related to the hiring somebody to do the podcast thing. That's something that I'll probably make a post. Maybe I'll even make that post tonight. I'm not sure, but yeah. Mobile apps are coming. After I redesign my website, after I get my web developer to redo kind of my front page to make sure that everything is consistent there. I'll be having some form of official web apps made too. So if you're like an Android guy or an iOS guy, there'll be an actual official app for you to use that's updated and works consistent with the website and looks nice and everything. I try to view my site, my chat on my phone all the time, and it's actually really fucking annoying on Android. If you try to click the menu, sometimes the keyboard pops up and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes the keyboard pops up and then when you click to type, the keyboard goes away because it's really fucking irritating. So if you're an Android person and you experience some of those same things and you try to chat, I know your pain because I go through it all the fucking time too, and I end up sometimes I'll be like mobile and I want to chat and I don't even do it because I get so pissed off at the interface. And yeah, so hopefully those official apps moving forward will be good hombres. But otherwise, I think in general, yeah, I think last year was pretty good. I'm happy with where everything is at now. My stream is doing pretty good, right? I think we've held pretty steady, maybe even slight improvement because of some of the games and political memes we've been involved in. I'm really happy with the progress that I've made politically. I think I know a lot more now than I did in the past. I think that I feel pretty well equipped to talk to some people that I would have considered far out of my league a long time ago. I think that in general, the exposure that I've been getting and talking to some of these people is pretty good. We've rebuilt our Twitter. When did my Twitter account get banned? It's been about a year, and I'm almost back up to 20,000 followers. Honestly, I thought it would cap out at like 5 to 10. I didn't know if we'd get past like 10, 15 again. So I'm really happy that I'm up to almost 20,000 followers again, and that's without any of the StarCraft community, right? Because before, a lot of my followers were original memers back in the days of, StarCraft. So I'm hoping that things continue the way they are. Hopefully we pick up a little bit more organized content. Like I want to get doing the podcasting memes, continue with the Monday mails, stuff for the YouTube. I want to continue to get networked and associated with more of these political memers. If the Lawrence Southern debate goes well, maybe that opens up a lot more doors for me. Maybe Sargon opens up more doors for me to get me to the Stefan guy, maybe to get me to Milo, and yeah, all in all, I think things are going great. And I'm pretty happy with the way things are. Oh yeah, and then playing games, I've got my PS4 set up. I think my stream is looking pretty good. Yeah, and hopefully League ends up being a good meme. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I love you guys. I want to end with one more thing that I brought up at the beginning of the video. I every time I say things, because of the way that I talk and because I kind of because I think I can do the straight the stiff comedy pretty well. Where you pretend that you're talking about something but you're totally bullshitting someone, but you have the straight face. You know what I'm talking about, right? I don't mean to sound sarcastic or whatever when I'm thanking people that sub to me. It's actually like a really big deal. I'm really grateful for everybody that pays money to watch my shit. Like that's incredible to me, and it still is incredible to me. To think that I was struggling to make $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Where I wasn't worth shit doing carpet cleaning, and now I have people that will pay me $40 a month just to watch my stream and interact with me in chat. Like these are unbelievable things to me, and I really am like unbelievably grateful that I get to fucking sit here in the basement of my second house, surrounded by a computer system worth probably fucking $10,000 between everything. And then I wake up, and the most difficult decision I have to make every morning is like, what game am I going to play today? Like, do I really want to do fucking Hearthstone again, or do I want like these are the hard decisions in my life now. And I'm really grateful that I'm in this position, and I'm really grateful that I came from where I came from before this, because I don't take for granted any of that. Like I know that it's very common, and I get very frustrated sometimes when you hear streamers talk about like the difficulties of streaming, and it is difficult, but like this life compared to what I had before was insane, right? Whereas before, you're coming home at 10 or 11 o'clock off of a shitty fucking job where you're tearing apart some guy's fucking basement because he's got water damage, and you have to tear out all the fucking drywall, and you've got to tear out all the wet, disgusting carpet and peel back all of the fucking padding. And if you're unlucky, you might have to scrape the fucking glue off the floor and all of the work, cutting the drywall and getting all that shit out and moving the baseboards and getting the gloves for the insulation and all of that disgusting fucking shit, right? These were the things, these were the issues that you had to deal with, or that I had to deal with, I guess, when I did the carpet cleaning, right? And these were difficult decisions that I had to make, knowing that no matter which decisions I made, at the end of the month, I'm getting, $750 paychecks bi-weekly, right? And now the difficulties that you face as a streamer, like, do I really want to have an emotional breakdown because a guy tweeted at me that, my stream sucks? Do I really want it, right? And now I'm having to deal with these problems, which are a whole set of problems, and they are difficult to deal with, but like I'm dealing with these problems for 10 times the pay, and they pale in comparison to the shittiness of working a shit job and having no education and no fucking future, right? So I don't want you to ever think that I'm taking for granted my position. I absolutely cherish what I do, and it's really important to me that I have you guys that support me, and I love you all for it. And thank you very much. I wish I was more emotional because I feel like if I cried at the end here, it would be like 20 times more impactful. But I'm not much. I'm not much for tears. I'm sorry, guys. I love you. Have fun. Peace out. I will see you. Hopefully the next Monday mail. I'm probably not going to do one tomorrow. I should do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. We'll see. Have a wonderful New Year. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.